The individual you guys can see on screen is my peak business mentee, Marvin Koenig. And in today's video, I'm going to talk you guys through how he generated 7,000 euros for his online fitness and health coaching business in the last week or so. Let's pull these posts up. As you guys can see here, 10 days ago, Martin notified all of us in the Peak Business System school that he generated 4K in revenue from a client directly from YouTube in the German market with a 4K package. And I'll dive into the exact acquisition methods he leveraged here to acquire and, of course, convert that client. Then a couple of days later, only 4 days later, he generated another 3,000 euros from a sale as well for a high ticket package. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Billy Harris. I've been operating Peak Health Systems for the last 7 to 8 years of my life. And essentially, I work with 6-9-figure entrepreneurs to help them optimize their health and performance. Over the course of my career, I've worked with 700 to 800 clients in this space, including the likes of Iman Gadzi, Ryan Clogg, who's generated over 75 million in sales from his online coaching business as well. Cole Gordon, now a multi-8-figure business owner and entrepreneur. Bastian Slot, a multi-8-figure business owner and entrepreneur. Individuals in the property space in the UK and education space like Tyler Newman. Big names in the South American space like Marcos Rossetti. And individuals who I refer to as being private geniuses. One of my clients, he runs a software business. And as you guys can see, in his month of launch, he generated over 15 million from that particular business. And also many other familiar faces in the education space, digital marketing, software, publishing, trading spaces, you name it. I've worked with individuals in all different domains of business. I started my career personally as a personal trainer working in central London, slaving away from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. every single night, at least 5 days per week. I had enough and therefore started to pursue my dream of building my own online coaching business. And initially, I was charging about 100 to 150 pounds per month for my services, and now I charge 15,000 pounds for my 12-week package. You guys can see proof on screen here of transactions going through. This was a 10K package I sold to a client I've been working with for a long period of time now. Another individual here, you guys can see that's £9,000 spent there. Another individual here, another 10K sale coming through. One of my clients, £17,499 in LTV from that particular client. Another client here, £16,499 in LTV. Another client, another 10K package there. And then another individual here, you can see LTV of £23,200, and I'm still working with that individual specifically. So in today's video, we're going to dive into how I started working with Marvin and essentially the entire process that we have taken him through thus far as I continue to work with him to help him grow and scale his online coaching business, and how he actually acquired these 2 sales to equate to 7K in revenue. So Marvin, as I said, he's a personal trainer. He lives in Germany. He runs his own personal training studio. He works extremely lengthy hours. And he's always had the dream of growing his own online coaching business with a high ticket model. And therefore, we started working together not too long ago, a few months ago, to help him essentially map out and ideate his offer, who exactly it is he wanted to work with, the deliverables for his product, the problem he was solving for those individuals, and of course, the cost of service. He wanted to leverage a high ticket model, like of course I have done now for the last 8 years of my career, and therefore is a perfect fit to work together. Of course, Marvin has limited time to allocate towards his online coaching business due to the fact that, of course, he runs his own personal training studio. And therefore, we have to be very specific and accurate with his use of time outside of his personal training hours to ensure, of course, that there's significant return for time he allocates to and applies to building his online coaching business. But subsequently, now you guys can see his online business is starting to take off. That's 7K in revenue in the space of about 5 days there. So even shorter time period than just a week. And his inbound is now pretty significant as a byproduct of what we facilitated via YouTube as a primary acquisition platform. So my personal thought process on the space as a whole, and I've discussed this at length in previous videos very much so, is that any individual starting out or even individuals growing and scaling their business should commit to one platform to facilitate acquisition for their business. Particularly now the space has lent more aggressively towards the use of organic as an acquisition channel, specifically due to increasing costs of acquisition via paid medium specifically, relative to that of what cost per acquisitions were previously in the space in 2019, 2020, 2021, the golden age, so to speak. It's now a very different space as a whole. So with Marvin specifically, we chose to very much focus on YouTube. Therefore, in terms of other social platforms he's leveraged to facilitate success, we haven't focused on them whatsoever. Yes, we built out a degree of a social grid and a profile on Instagram. We've not leveraged LinkedIn, we've not leveraged Facebook, we've not leveraged any other platform to facilitate acquisition. We just chose to focus on YouTube as his acquisition channel for his offer specifically. And I'm not the only individual who is adamant this is the correct approach to take. There's many other individuals that I work with who I'm friends with in the space, and also significant authorities in the space who also have adopted the same perspective that if you focus on YouTube as a platform for acquisition, both top of funnel and also as a nurturing system specifically, and I'll discuss the difference between the two in a second, you can facilitate tremendous financial abundance and success like I've done so without a funnel, without a VSL, without any email opt-ins, even with just a Typeform application or a Calendly application for a consultation call, you take the call, and as a byproduct of that, of course, you can generate significant sales, 4K sale, a 3K sale, etc. And Marvin discussed this also in his post he uploaded for the rest of my mentees to also consume. He didn't have a VSL in place, and that highlights the importance of delivering value in advance through content and building trust. And then, of course, that's further validated here when he refers to the process that his prospect went through to actually then facilitate a conversion and, of course, the onboarding of that client. Discovery on YouTube on the About page, watched the video and signed up for his lead magnet, got redirected to a landing page, booked a call, simple. So Marvin does have the asset of a landing page built out, but it's not necessary for conversion by any means. The fact he's simply showing up on a platform through which his ideal clients are actually consuming content and looking for solutions to their pains and difficulties, and he's doing so in a way which is effective in terms of acquisition of viewership due to the way he's packaging his videos, title, production, also, of course, the actual value within the video itself is facilitating conversion. That's the primary mechanism to facilitate conversion. So when we first started working together, Marvin and I ideated and thought it was best for him to actually produce content in English, even though he's a German speaker, because his English was unbelievably good and very much is the case. And of course, the English-speaking market being a more significant market in terms of size and scope. However, as a byproduct of allocating a few weeks and months to doing so in terms of production of content and then replicating the content he's producing in English to German, also producing on his German channel blew up pretty quickly. So as you guys can see here, Marvin was very persistent with the uploading of content, which was extremely high production quality and, of course, value packaging within it as well in terms of value he was providing to his ideal clients and the audience who was consuming his content. There's a lot of it within these videos, very much so. However, they weren't performing to the extent we'd have liked them to have done so. So we pivoted and we started to prioritize instead his German-speaking channel. And as you guys can see, we did so about a month ago. His first upload on this channel, again, being a month ago. He was passively kind of posting a few videos here and there in the last months or so. This was before starting working with me. So he wasn't really being particularly proactive with his channel because we chose not to do so initially, just to test and see. And then he actually then committed to doing so. And as you guys can see, the first upload acquired 1,000 views, whereas his previous uploads on his English-speaking channel, he was acquiring a fraction of that audience. So we committed heavily to his German-speaking channel. 11,000 views, 2.6K views, 45,000 views, 18,000 views. This video is performing pretty well so far. And we didn't change anything whatsoever, really. His thumbnails have started to perform a little bit better, and that's due to what we've been working on in that regard, and also another program he enrolled in to master thumbnail production, which is great. There's a program that I've also enrolled in myself through use of an AI to master thumbnail production. I'll discuss that, and I'll be uploading content on that in the future in terms of how I'll be leveraging that moving forward so you guys can do the same thing. And also I'll be taking my mentees through that as well simultaneously. But the value and production quality associated to the videos was basically exactly the same. He's speaking to the same ideal clients. Essentially, his offer is very similar to that of my offer, in which he's worked with individuals who have acquired and have obtained financial success in their careers or in their own businesses, whether they're working a 9-to-5 job in a more corporate sense or they're running their own business. But he's helping them achieve more of a physique outcome than I am. My offer is more so health optimization. Physique outcome is facilitated with that. And that's why also he's charging between 3 to 4K for his service as opposed to 15K that I charge for my service. There's a value discrepancy there, and progressively Marvin will work up to then charging 10K, 15K, etc. as he adds in more value to his product delivery, which of course we'll be working on progressively together over the coming weeks and months. Now, with regards to why his English channel didn't perform from my perspective, I think it's pretty clear, truthfully. I think the German market resonated better with his humor and the approach he took to production of value. On a more personal level in terms of character and personality. I think they better resonated with this because he changed nothing other than, of course, thumbnails and refined his titles a little bit further. There are no other variables that changed in terms of the content he's producing in English than the content he's producing in German. So I think the German-speaking market was more receptive to the offer as a whole. So we'll be doubling down on it. But also another variable to acknowledge as well is that in the English-speaking market, it is much more competitive. So if we assess individuals who are perceived to be authorities, both as content creators and also as service providers and coaches, we can break them down into the following categories, and I've discussed this at length previously. We have medical professionals and doctors who occupy the space, like Dr. Mike, who I'm sure most of you guys are aware of if you're consuming this piece of content now. On Instagram alone, 4.7 million views. It's very hard to compete with him in terms of credibility in the medical space, of course, if you're not a trained professional doctor. Individuals who work with notable clients, I categorize myself there as well. So if we look at competitors to Marvin, myself technically being one of them now, of course, and have been for the last 8 years or so, I've worked with many big players in the space and I publicly showcase this all the time. And therefore, it's very difficult for Marvin to compete with someone in that capacity as well. If we look at another example of that as well, I always refer to Tim Grover, who is, of course, known as being Michael Jordan's personal trainer and physical trainer. Many people wouldn't know about his existence unless, of course, he had the opportunity to work with Michael. And therefore, in this space, as a coach, it is great to associate yourself with individuals of caliber and status as soon as you possibly can do, and I refer to them as being whale clients. Let's look at another authority in the space as well. We have Gary Brecker, and of course, you can see it's very much from even just the top 3 pinned posts here. He associates himself with the best and the most well-known on the planet and benefits from doing so significantly, and therefore is perceived as an authority as a byproduct of the relationships he's built, as well as, of course, the value he provides to the lives of other individuals. If we look at other categories or other ways that individuals have chosen to put their stamp on the fitness and health space, we have individuals who leverage the fame of others or topic matters of significance and notoriety, humor, satire, aggression. So we have the likes of Lane Norton, James Smith, CoffeeZilla in the make money space, individuals like Josh Brett as well in the fitness space. These individuals have leveraged this to their advantage. They've used the names, brands, topic matters of others who are more successful or require more viewership at the time and are more well known. And then, of course, they've associated themselves with it. With that, I've done so myself on my own YouTube channel previously by creating content in which I review the processes of other individuals like a Brian Johnson of the world. And from those videos, I've had great success. I mean, for my long form piece, I acquired 250,000 views from this video alone. And for my short form piece of content, I've acquired about 700 views from this one topic matter. So that's another example of myself doing that. We also have experts in this space like Huberman. It's very difficult to compete with them. And of course, other individuals in other spaces have leveraged irrefutable proof to their advantage. So of course, Alex Hormozi being the $100 million man, it's irrefutable proof. There's receipts of his business transactions in terms of sales and exits from his business, etc. You can look it up yourself. It's undeniable that he has obtained that success. Other individuals in the space, in terms of their references to their numbers they do on an annual basis with their businesses, it's irrefutable. You can look at this information online. And also, there needs to be a use case of, unless you have these things in your back pocket as assets, you then need to, of course, ensure you present yourself as being unique authority and plus a persona as well. So Alex Hormozi broke onto the scene not only because of his huge success and his ability to articulate his thoughts and value in a very concise and effective manner, which resonated with his audience, but also he was a jacked, bodybuilder-looking lumberjack guy, crazy facial hair, wearing a cap, vest, tops, Crocs, etc. He was the opposite of what most individuals perceive a business person to look like, and therefore, as a byproduct of that, creative resonance and was a unique character in the space. So Marvin hadn't yet done any of these things in the English-speaking space, and as a byproduct of that, he gave his audience no reason to necessarily pay attention to him or perceive him as an authority. And also, this is a new offer that we've been working on to launch with him, right? And therefore, he didn't have a huge degree of social proof to leverage, nor individuals with notoriety or fame to support the inference that he's an authority in the space. Okay, so again, if I refer to my own business, of course, I've worked with the likes of Iman Gadzi, etc. I leverage that to my benefits to convey very clearly to my prospects and potential audience members that I am an individual of authority, competence, and therefore can provide significant value to the lives of prospective clients of mine as well. So Marvin hadn't yet done that, and therefore, again, we chose to commit more aggressively to the German-speaking market, and subsequently he's had tremendous success doing so. So yeah, the space as a whole, in terms of navigating your priorities, is extremely straightforward. Commit to a platform through which you feel you have a natural inclination to create content on. So if you're an individual who absolutely nails written content, commit to a platform like LinkedIn. If you're an individual who likes to create video format of content like I do personally, it doesn't need to be overly produced by any means. It could be shot in a capacity and manner like I've done so here, where I'm simply sat at my desk recording a piece of content on Screen Studio, the editing software and recording software. It's very straightforward to do, but I'm providing ample value, of course, which is a byproduct of that. Ensures that prospective clients of mine are then know that I can actually add impact and therefore have significant benefit to their lives if they choose to work with me and enroll in my products. Marvin's simply done the same thing. He's simply solving the problems being experienced by his ideal clients, and doing so in a way in which he's producing content which is easily accessible to them due to, of course, his packaging of his content in terms of titles and thumbnails, which we've been working on for a while with him, and also, of course, the value he actually provides in the video itself. The space as a whole now is, in terms of how to navigate it and facilitate financial success, is more clear than ever, in my opinion. It's just a case then showing up and taking charge of or prioritizing the variables which I've just informed you guys of in terms of which platforms to prioritize. Obviously, construct a high ticket offer, and as a byproduct of that, acquisition is extremely straightforward. In terms of what would be facilitating with Marvin as a next step and a priority, of course, a huge time sink and time drain to him is the allocation of time that he has to commit to his personal training clients in his personal training studio, being, again, a day as long as 12, 15 hours, right? Because due to the nature of personal training hours, it's a very lengthy day. And therefore, my objective with him progressively now is to reduce the amount of hours he commits to his personal training studio. And of course, that can be supported by the fact he's now making money online and significant amounts of it. 7K in less than a week is a huge amount of money for most individuals, and is awesome and very impressive. And I'm very happy for him, which is absolutely great to see. And now that he has that money banked and, of course, can continue to acquire more clients on a consistent basis due to the performance of his videos now, I'd like him to reduce his hours he spends and commits to his personal training studio, and also, of course, transition a few of his in-person clients to online clients. Not the same clients he's working with here. They're not high leverage or high performing entrepreneurs or individuals that have obtained huge financial success, and therefore he won't be able to charge them 3, 4K. He'll be charging them on a monthly basis in a very similar manner to how I have introduced a back end and a downsell to the clients I've worked with for my 12-week process, and I've extracted the most LTV I possibly can from. So my LTV average per client is now £25,000. I work with them typically for a period of 5 months. I have my 12-week delivery, and then I typically work with them for a further 2 months beyond that, charging £5,000 per month GBP. However, of course, I then wanted to facilitate delivery to them on a more long-term basis, but I appreciated, of course, if I had to ask them to invest more money and a significant amount, the likelihood of me doing so and building that relationship and continuing to work with them is minimal. So I introduced a downsell and a back-end offer through which my deliverables are very time efficient for me to deliver. Essentially, I update their training protocols, nutrition, supplementation, etc. I check in with them via my Typeform check-ins and Loom recording response. I answer their questions as and when needed. And initially, I'll charge £500 per month for that, and we'll increase that to £1,000 per month progressively over time. Once, of course, I fulfill my numbers there as well. I want Marvin to leverage a very similar offer to actually convert some of his in-person clients to online clients, and therefore he has more time to produce content and continue to grow and scale his online coaching business in an effective and efficient manner. But yeah, I'm absolutely ecstatic for Marvin. It's been an absolute pleasure working with him to even just start and grow his online coaching business thus far, and very much look forward to continue to doing so. And if, of course, you guys are interested in replicating this process and working with me one-to-one to help you facilitate the start and growth of your online coaching business, of course, you can check out the top link in the description to join my school and therefore work with me on a personal basis to help you replicate the degree of success that Marvin's facilitated. But in my personal opinion, and I've been in this space now since 2017 or so, I think it is more... I think the space is easier to navigate than it ever has been. And therefore, if you proceed with these steps that I've just communicated to you in an aggressive manner and an efficient manner, you'll facilitate tremendous financial success. I think the social media landscape now is easier to navigate than ever. And there's a huge desire for and a craving for production content which doesn't have huge production quality associated to it. So it's not overly edited. It's just the production of value by the actual creator and owner of the business, speaking directly to camera and providing ample value to the lives of others and actually solving their problems they're facing. I think many individuals in the space as a whole as consumers are craving that, and we're seeing an uptake of that type of content and very positive trend associated with it. So yeah, the space as a whole is easier than ever in terms of barrier to access, in my opinion. Whereas in previous years, we saw the likes of Iman Gadzhi, Alex, etc., build out huge media teams, massively overly produced content, and therefore competing with that was very difficult. So yeah, now's the perfect time to shine. Now's the time to put your shoes on, get cracking, get rocking and rolling, sit at your desk, make it happen. And if, of course, you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the comment section below this video, or, of course, join school. And I shall see you guys in the next one.